Welcome to the Total War Warhammer 2 Lords Tournament. Before we begin, let's go over the rules. The tournament will begin with heats to see who is the best lord from each faction. Whoever wins these heats will go on to the final to represent their race. The order of these heats has been randomly selected, as you can see, starting with the Tomb Kings and ending with the Lucky Bretonnia, who drew last and get to skip a round of finals thanks to the odd numbers. Once all of the racial heats have been played and everyone has their champions, they will all go head to head until only one remains as the true lord to rule all lords. Each battle will consist of one-on-one fights between two randomly selected lords from each faction. There will be no mounts or items allowed, but spells and abilities are enabled, so we should get to see some fireworks from some of the more magical competitors. To make sure we have a clear winner, the lords have also been set to never retreat, so these battles will be to the death. All that being said, let's get to the fights. Today we have the Tomb Kings. First up is High Queen Khalida. She's a duelist and deals poison attacks, and when she's not busy raising the dead and trying to take over the desert, she likes to relax by feeding her skeletons pieces of humans, which is just a lovely hobby that we should all really get into. She also has a pet necro serpent who is watching on from the sidelines, and I'm sure is cheering her on. She's going up against Greg, our Tomb King. He's just your average Joe. He worked hard to get through the ranks of being raised from an undead skeleton to eventually lead his own army of undead skeletons and to one day be overthrown by an undead skeleton. When he's not battling, he does like to relax by watching some documentaries on ancient Egypt and noting the similarities and how strange it was that they got slaves to do that rather than using magic. It must have been aliens. That's Greg's words, not mine.
Okay, let's get ready to rumble!
Since Khalida has drawn first, she has the task of crossing this great gap and initiating the battle, and she is wasting no time in doing that. Now Greg does have the advantage of a shield, which will grant him some great benefits in battle. He's also slightly more armoured but lacks the speed, melee attack and charge bonus that Khalida has. She also deals poison damage, so will debuff Greg in some very, very noticeable ways, which I think will turn the tide of this battle. Here we go, the first clash is about to begin. Khalida is closing in. Greg, he makes his march. Here they come. They've both used some spells. She got a great attack off there. And another explosion. Greg is knocked to the floor, and Khalida really needs to take advantage of this. But she didn't, she just kind of ran around. That was another devastating hit from Khalida to Greg. These explosive melee attacks will surely be taking a toll on him. It's looking quite even. Khalida is making a bit of a retreat, I'm assuming to use a spell. And Greg, he's giving chase right now. Oh, she's really running. And here she comes back. She just wanted a break. And Greg is welcoming that. Oh, that was an amazing roll by Khalida there into a fantastic poison attack from the snake staff. And she's using that palm explosion ability very, very well. And Greg is just going ham on her with his sword and shield. It's going to be a lot closer than I thought it was. It's not looking good for Greg. These poison attacks are taking a serious toll on him, and he is showing that he's slowing down and he's not doing the damage that he really needs to turn this battle in his favour. Battle is still very, very close. It's half and half for both heroes. Greg has a slight advantage on health, but I don't think it's going to make all the difference just at this point. Again, Khalida decides to run away for some reason. I don't know what she's doing. Khalida, there she goes. She's coming back. Here we go, another clash. A fantastic roll and poison explosive damage from Khalida there, and another explosion. That is going to cost Greg some serious, serious health points. Greg needs to start making some more offensive attacks right now, because he is just not getting in enough between these explosive hits from Khalida. That's a fantastic swipe by Greg there, but Khalida is just mopping the floor of him with these explosive hits. Oh, Greg gets an amazing diving slash there, and Khalida looks rocked. She is knocked off balance, she is off her feet nearly. Greg can really take the advantage here if he maintains this attack. She just keeps pumping out those explosive hits, and I'm not sure how many more Greg is going to be able to take. This is going to really come down to the wire, folks. Oh, another fantastic dive from Greg there, and Khalida is again rocked. Not quite off her feet, but she is definitely off balance. Another explosive attack from Khalida there. That snake staff is really helping her out, but she's again rocked by Greg. Khalida again making a run. She is very low HP. Greg has the advantage by about 300 health right now. That is not looking good for her at all. I don't know why she's running away. I think she's scared. Here they come. This is going to be the final clash we see. Khalida is giving it her all. Another explosive attack from that serpent staff and another explosion onto Greg. That could bring her the victory if she manages to maintain this pressure. But Greg's back on his feet, and I don't think she's going to be able to hold it on for much longer. He gets another slash in. She is rocked. Another fantastic dive from Greg. He's just mopping the floor with Khalida right now. Oh, Greg is off his feet. Khalida really needs to maintain this pressure if she wants to win. She needs to get another hit. Khalida takes the victory. Amazing. Khalida will be moving on to the semi-finals. That was a fantastic battle. Khalida was just pushing out those explosive attacks again and again and again, and Greg just could not handle it. He got some amazing hits in of his own though, and we cannot take any credit away from him from that. It was an admirable performance from both fighters, and it could really have gone either way. Right, on to our next match of the night. The first of our next two battlers is Grand Hierophant KHATEP. He likes to read hieroglyphs, and he also likes to write them. But most of all, he likes to cast spells at children's birthday parties when he isn't raising his own units to do his bidding. He's got some serious spells that could really turn the tide of this battle in his favour if Arkan cannot withstand. Arkan has access to a different set of spells which could also turn the tide in his favour if he manages to get plenty of them off and maintain his winds of magic throughout this battle. He also has several abilities which again make him very, very good at children's birthday parties. These mages, they are all the rage. Everyone in Altdorf wants one. Right, so let's get into this battle.
Okay, let's get ready to rumble!
Grand Hierophant KHATEP has got to make the advance in this battle. He's making his charge, and Arkan the Black is just waiting for him. He's savouring his engine, which is a very, very good move. He is heavily armoured, and moving all the way across here, even for an undead, would be a very, very difficult task. Now we can see here that Arkan has a sword and a staff, which he will use to cast some spells and do some fantastic damage in melee. Grand Hierophant KHATEP, he's got a sword and a staff as well, and a bit of a limp by the looks of things, but he's not nearly as armoured as Arkan, so we're just going to have to hope, for his sake, that those spells will make all the difference. Here we go, the final charge. KHATEP is making his way in, and Arkan, he's just waiting. He's going to make a charge any minute now though. He cannot afford to just let this man get a charge on him. Oh, he makes a spell. That is Spirit Leech. That is a very, very useful spell to get as soon as they are clashing in combat. He's just coming out with the spells. He's given himself a physical resistance and leadership, but he has been debuffed by KHATEP with melee attack and melee defense. I think it's a good job that they did that because Arkan is seriously, seriously doing some damage to KHATEP right now. He has done several spells on him, and also he's just destroying him in melee. This is going to be a very one-sided battle unless KHATEP can really pull something out of the bag for this one. KHATEP just keeps taking these hits and getting knocked off balance and leaving himself open to attack from Arkan. This is not going to end well. Another fantastic hit there from Arkan the Black. KHATEP really needs to get a hit in soon, or he is done for. There we go, a stab into Arkan as he makes his own slash. That was a fantastic hit. Oh, Arkan is knocked off balance. KHATEP gets a fantastic hit in. Will it be enough? KHATEP just keeps getting knocked off balance right now. He really needs to use some of these spells if he wants to make it into the final. Arkan has barely taken any damage, whereas KHATEP is seriously needing some help right now. And another spell comes down on KHATEP from Arkan, using Life Leech there. KHATEP is on his last 500 HP right now, and Arkan is not letting up. He's in serious, serious trouble. Arkan keeps getting some slight hits on him from KHATEP, but it really is not going to be enough. Oh, KHATEP uses a spell to try and debuff his melee attack and defense, but I really don't think it's going to be enough. KHATEP has taken way too much damage right now. He cannot afford to lose any more. This is really a matter of time now until Arkan takes him out with a final hit. Credit to KHATEP though, he's doing some great hits to Arkan right now. If he was less armoured, this would be a very, very close battle. But Arkan the Black, he just comes with that natural armour, and it's just unstoppable. KHATEP is knocked off balance, and I fear it may be for the final time. We've got some spells coming from both members of the fight now. Oh, and KHATEP is down, and I believe that is the end. Arkan takes the victory. we could really tell from the start that that was going to be a one-sided battle for Arkan. He just has so much more armor and melee attack and defense than KHATEP does. It was just never going to be a fair fight, but credit to him, he put up a great fight, and I'm sure he will support whoever wins in the final. Since SETTRA was lucky enough to be drawn last, he's now going up against Arkan to decide who will go in the semi-final to go against Khalida. Now, he, like most of the Tomb Kings, really does not like Arkan the Black. They had a little rivalry when they were younger. Arkan stole all SETTRA's crayons and ruined his drawing of Khalida. SETTRA had a massive crush on Khalida, and he's really mad that Khalida prefers Arkan for his thick bones. But again, SETTRA has some fantastic abilities and a great spell set, so we are really just going to have to see what this comes down to. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's get ready to rumble!
Again, SETTRA, since he has drawn such a way, he is going to have to make up this distance to engage with Arkan, which can give Arkan a great advantage in the beginning, as he just doesn't have to move and he can conserve his energy the entire time. If I was SETTRA, I would really take my time getting over there, but for the sake of the viewers, I think it's a good thing that he is running. He's about to enter casting range. Will we see some spells go off? I believe we might, since both these guys are very heavy spellcasters. Arkan may have more armor than SETTRA, but SETTRA does have armor-piercing damage, which Arkan does not. So that will be a heavy advantage for him when they engage. And here they go, Arkan goes straight in with that halberd there. Sorry, SETTRA goes straight in with that halberd there, and there are spells flying everywhere, and Arkan, he's doing some sort of headbutt move. It was very ineffective. SETTRA was not impressed. Arkan just keeps coming out with these spells, whereas SETTRA, he's preferring to take the straightforward approach of smacking him in the face with a halberd, which I can really admire and get behind. Oh, Arkan is knocked to the floor. Let's hope that SETTRA can capitalise on this and do some fantastic damage. There we go, that was a great charge as Arkan got up and could barely defend himself. Both guys are getting some fantastic hits in right now. SETTRA is still being debuffed by 25% weapon damage and 30 armor by Arkan. That could very well sway this in his favor, but Arkan has taken such ridiculous damage from SETTRA's armor piercing, I really don't think he's going to be able to pull it back. SETTRA is basically at full health, whereas Arkan is down to his last 500. He really needs to use some serious spells to give himself an advantage here, on which he just has. He just took 200 damage off of SETTRA immediately. 300, 400. Arkan is doing some ridiculous damage right now. But SETTRA has just buffed himself to even more damage, and this is going to be one of the last hits here in a moment. SETTRA is going to clear up, and it is only a matter of time. There he goes. Arkan is down, he is on his knees, and he has fallen. SETTRA takes the victory. That one started off and ended very quickly, but it actually did come down to the wire a little bit. SETTRA did take some serious damage from Arkan's spells in those last few minutes, but he did eventually clear it up with his armor-piercing damage, which I believe will help him take it to the final. But again, we're just going to have to wait and see. Now we have High Queen Khalida versus SETTRA, and stats-wise, it's looking like SETTRA is going to clean house. The only things that she has on him are speed, some melee attack and defense, and charge bonus, but she's not armor-piercing. So it will be very, very difficult for her to get through all SETTRA's thick armor. Here we go, into the final battle. But before this final battle, let's thank our sponsor for today's video, food. Whether you're hungry, need a snack, or you just want to indulge, food has you covered. It comes in many shapes, sizes, flavours, smells and categories. Pick yourself up some today. Here we go with the final battle, SETTRA versus Khalida. Who will win? Let's find out. Again, SETTRA does technically have the disadvantage here because he has to cross all this distance to get even close to Khalida. But if I was her, I would be trying to kite him as much as possible, using my damaging spells while I can, while he is out of range. Because once he gets into melee, I've got a feeling it's going to be all over for Khalida, and it's going to be SETTRA going into the final. Oh, she makes an early charge. I've got a feeling that some spells are going to fly here from both parties. We'll just have to wait and see. There we go. I believe SETTRA has buffed himself and debuffed Khalida. Oh no, they both buffed themselves. She's given herself weapon damage and terror, which will be seriously good if it causes SETTRA to do some retreating. SETTRA's given himself weapon damage and armor-piercing damage, which is very, very bad for Khalida, but she hasn't actually taken a hit yet. She keeps managing to avoid him and do some, great damage while she can. Whereas SETTRA has taken a little bit of damage, but enough to make it substantial. Oh, but with a single hit, SETTRA's already taken the advantage, doing more damage than Khalida has this entire time, and another hit from that halberd is just showing Khalida that SETTRA is not going to be as easy a fight as Greg. See what she's doing here? She's getting away so she can reuse some of her spells. get them off cooldown, let her use them. It is a bit of a cheesy tactic, but I must say it is probably the best thing that she can do to give herself an advantage here. Otherwise, it's going to be straight SETTRA the entire time. She also has that great charge bonus, so that is fantastic for doing several repeating charges rather than sustained melee. SETTRA just buffed his armor piercing damage and weapon strength again, so any hits that he gets on Khalida are going to be seriously damaging, but again, she's trying to do some cycle charges here, which might not be the most exciting to watch, but it is very smart. It gets her more damage and less damage caused to her. And she can also cast spells from this range, which is very, very useful indeed. Here she goes, she's turning around, she's heading back towards SETTRA, and he is making the distance up to her at the same time. Here she goes, she's going to get one of them sliding explosive attacks. Fantastic, SETTRA is rattled. He needs to turn around and get engaged as soon as he can. And there we go. Oh, she just used a fantastic explosion on him, and SETTRA is pinned to the ground. He's back up. Oh, and a devastating hit on Khalida there. She's firing out these explosive hits, but I don't think it's going to do much to SETTRA. He's just that densely armoured and does that much damage. It's just going to cut through her rogues there. And he keeps buffing himself and debuffing her with these spells. She is not long for this world, I've got a feeling. The health bars are much closer than I would have imagined though. But again, every hit that SETTRA gets, it's doing about 500 damage. He has insane weapon strength compared to her. Even though she has it higher, he has 330 armor piercing damage and she only has 180. So every hit, he's doing 2 to 3 times more damage than she is, and you can see that he's on 3,000 health, she's on 1,000. It's just not going well. And they're both running away and making another charge to each other. If SETTRA gets more hits in, this could be the final charge for Khalida, so she better make it count, use all the spells she can, use that charge bonus, and hope that it is enough. Fantastic explosive hit on SETTRA there again, but he gets a fantastically damaging halberd hit there. And another one straight to that sand, not sure where he was aiming, but his heart is in the right place. Buried in a pyramid somewhere in a canopic jar. Oh, a fantastic charge from SETTRA there. Oh, and Khalida is down. SETTRA takes the victory, and he'll be headlining the Tomb Kings in the final, representing his race. And he couldn't be more pleased. Look at that guy. So there we have it. The Tomb Kings fought, and in the end, SETTRA came out as the top dog. He'll be going on to the final to face the winner of the Dark Elf tournament, which will come next time. I hope you enjoyed this tournament. If you want to see more episodes of this, please do leave a like as it helps out a lot, and comment tell me who you thought was going to win and if anything shocked you in this video. If you want to see more videos like this or any guides, please do consider subscribing, as after all, it is free. For now though, I was COLONELDAMNEDERS, and I'll see you next turn.